Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of my Pokemon Battle Series, the School of Hard Knocks. So throughout this episode, like every other, we'll be jumping on to the Pokemon Global Link Battle Spot ladder, playing under the Championship Battle rules, which are the equivalent rule set of the VGC 2017 season. So we had a couple of good games yesterday. We've not had a bad start to the week. We've had some really great games with the team, so hopefully we can kind of continue that on in today's episode. I'm really enjoying featuring this team on the channel this week. So just to quickly go over what we're using, it is the Tapu Lele, Arcanine, Celesteela, Drifblim, Garchomp, and that Snorlax as well. So we haven't featured the Snorlax as much as I would like, and I said this yesterday, so hopefully we can kind of get that in amongst the battles today. Rating did take a hit yesterday after the QR code. We won our first game with that wishy-washy team, but lost the second one. But it was a fun team to play, so I hope you guys, if you have checked it out, did enjoy that game. And the bell rings, we have our first opponent from Australia with a high enough rating, running a team of Arcanine, Garchomp, Kartana, Drifblim, Tapu Lele and Tapu Koko. So we have kind of a mirror-ish sort of match, so not going to be the easiest of matches, but we should be alright, I think, going into this. We do need to be obviously very careful of the Tapu Koko, the Kartana for our Tapu Lele, but apart from that, I think we'll be alright. I'm gonna lead off my Tapu Lele and my Drifblim here. What else do I want to bring? I want to bring Celesteela and Garchomp maybe to kind of round things off. Because the thing is, like I've said before, when I do say Kartana on opposing teams, I don't tend to want to bring my Snorlax. Arcanine will be very good here as well, because it provides nice Intimidate support against the opposing Arcanine, Garchomp and Kartana. So I could just go Arcanine and Garchomp here, or I could go Arcanine, Arcanine, Garchomp, or Celesteela, Garchomp. So it's really which one do I want to bring. The Arcanine might be better, but I think I've got the Will-O-Wisp on Drifblim, so if I can take advantage of that, I think I should be alright. And we do have the Flamethrower on the Celesteela to take care of the opposing Kartana, and Celesteela gives me a nice switch into any psychic type attacks coming out from my opponent's team. So we'll see how we get on with these four. Hopefully they're alright. I hope you guys are having a good Thursday. I'm pretty tired today. I don't know what it is. I've had a pretty long day, but I'm feeling a bit tired, more than usual. But it is nearly the weekend, so we cannot complain, can we? So we're going to lead off with our Drifblim Lele, and my opponent is going to lead off with their Drifblim and their Tapu Lele. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set my Tailwind, and I'm going to go for a Moonblast into that opposing Tapu Lele. We do get our Psychic Seed activated first, so kind of indicating that we're outspeeding my opponent, which I presume that we will do. So I'm just going to go for that Moonblast into the opposing Tapu Lele, and I'm going to go for a Tailwind as well. And we'll see how my opponent approaches this. So I've had a little bit of experience playing the mirror quite a few times. So I did play this team on Showdown before I actually brought it onto the channel. And I managed to ladder it up to over 1800. So it didn't do too badly. And doing that as well allows you to kind of get a feel of tweaking things and stuff like that, and EV spreads and stuff like that. So we see my opponent just match our Tailwind, and we'll see what this Tapu Lele is going to go for. Opposing Tapu Lele goes for a Moonblast into my Tapu Lele, so mirroring exact moves take me down to about 50% health, and we'll do the same to the opposing Tapu Lele here. Now what we can do is, so we've got an option here. So the opposing Drifblim is definitely going to be able to pick up a KO onto our Lele with the Shadow Ball. And we can do the same to the opposing Tapu Lele with our Drifblim. Now, whether my opponent sees the protect kind of come out from my Tapu Lele and then just doubles into my Drifblim is another question. So what I think I might do is switch in my Celesteela here. And we've seen that Tapu Lele on my opponent's end isn't life orbed, so I'm just going to go for a Shadow Ball into that slot just to cover that slot. We could have stayed in and went for a Shattered Psyche there onto the opposing Drifblim, but I don't really want to lose Tapu Lele too early on if I can help it. So switch in the Celesteela. We will get the Shadow Ball off, so we'll be able to take this Tapu Lele down, which is nice, and Celesteela should be able to take this Shadow Ball that's potentially coming into that slot. But they are targeting down my Drifblim, so getting a bit of damage there. And we'll see what my opponent brings in for their next Pokemon. So it is the Arcanine. Okay. So we are threatened straight away by a Flare Blitz into that slot. And a Will-O-Wisp, really. Or my opponent might double in to my Drifblim, which I imagine it probably will. Because I think my opponent probably thinks that Celesteela is going to protect here. So I could potentially double into the Drifblim on my opponent's end of the field. It's a little bit risky though, because if I do that and I lose the Celesteela, then I might not have anything to take down the Kartana. But I think it's worth the risk. So I'm going to Heavy Slam, and I'm going to Shadow Ball into the Drifblim, opposing Drifblim. We should be outspeeding the opposing Drifblim. Hopefully a combination of a Shadow Ball and a Heavy Slam is enough to take it down. May not be. We do about 50, just over 50%. So we see Shadow Ball come out into my Drifblim. Oh, and it does take us down, which is a bit unfortunate. So turn before was a bit of a low damage roll. We just see a Will-O-Wisp come out from the Arcanine. So going for the potential switch in. So maybe there it might have been better to go for a Leech Seed, but at least we're getting damage onto this opposing Drifblim. Now we are in a bit of a situation because we can bring Garchomp in here, but we are going to get Will-O-Wisped from either the Drifblim or the Arcanine. I don't really want to bring my Tapu Lele in before we can get rid of the opposing Drifblim, and this is where Arcanine would have probably come in a lot handier in this sort of situation, because then it's immune to the Will-O-Wisps and I can switch things out into the potential Will-O-Wisps and fire type attacks that are coming in. So, let me think, what can we do here? If I lose Celesteela and that Kartana's in the back, then we automatically lose the game. That's the problem. But I don't know whether this Arcanine will protect and the Drifblim will just go for a Will-O-Wisp onto the Garchomp. That's my thinking here. So we could again just double up into the Drifblim. But I think I'm going to just go for a protect here with it. Actually, no, I'm not. Yeah, I am. And I'm going to just go for a Rock Slide. Because the best case scenario is we get the flinch onto the Arcanine, potentially. And we don't lose our Celesteela here, which is the big thing. Yeah, so we see the Will-O-Wisp come out. It's going to really affect the damage output from our Garchomp here. And we'll see what this Arcanine goes for. We do avoid the Drifblim, which is the target that we really want to be hitting in this situation. And just do a bit of chip damage to the Arcanine here. We see a Flare Blitz into the Celesteela slot. I think this next turn I'm really forced to kind of switch out the Celesteela into the Tapu Lele. Because I got such a funny feeling that it will be the Kartana in the back, and we need to get rid of the Arcanine before... Well, what we need to do is get rid of the... Yeah, we need to get rid of the Arcanine before our Celesteela can really do anything. So I think I'm just going to bring in Tapu Lele here and go for another Rock Slide. Because I don't want to Earthquake, potentially take out my Tapu Lele if the Arcanine protects and the Drifblim goes for another Tailwind. if I Earthquake and bring my Lele in, it probably wouldn't go down to the burn, but it's not worth taking any additional damage that I don't really need to. So we don't see any Protect come out. See a Tailwind from this Drifblim again. We get the Rock Slide off. It's not quite enough to take out that Drifblim just yet. And we see Flare Blitz from this Arcanine, which would probably be into the Tapu Lele slot. Because we haven't got an Intimidate on our team, we are not in the best of positions right now. But I think we are probably in a position where we can chip down the Arcanine with another Rock Slide and then put it into Earthquake range without the berry actually proccing. So what I'll do here is just go for a Protect with my Celesteela, because he has to attack into it, he has to, if it is the Kartana in the back. And I'll just go for another Rock Slide just to get rid of this Drifblim. So the Arcanine does Protect here, predicting my Protect. So my opponent playing this really well here. Shadow Ball into the Garchomp, yeah. And that Kartana is going to be a bit of an issue if it does come in here. If it is the Kartana, I totally expect it to be, because the Kartana is going to be able to do good damage to the Garchomp. And we're probably more than likely to be in KO range from a Arcanine Flare Blitz as well. So maybe my best play is to Leech Seed the Arcanine and go for an Earthquake if that Kartana does come in. But it's the Garchomp actually, okay. Still doesn't really change the situation too much, because we're still threatened by a Tectonic Rage from the opposing Garchomp. This is why we needed the Arcanine here, we needed that Intimidate support. So the opposing Garchomp can just go for a Tectonic Rage into my Garchomp, that'll pick up the KO. I'm just going to go for a Leech Seed into the opposing Arcanine here, because there's every chance we might survive a Flare Blitz. If we can get a Leech Seed off with the recoil damage as well, then we might be able to kind of pull something out. So, and I'm just going to go for an Earthquake with my Garchomp, because that end game here is really going to be getting rid of the Arcanine and then dealing with the Garchomp with our Celesteela. But as we see, as we thought, it is the Tectonic Rage from this Garchomp. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. We haven't played this as well as probably we could have done. My opponent's played this pretty flawlessly as well. He's made the right move every turn. So our Garchomp will go down here. And we're going to take a Flare Blitz. Yeah, and it's going to be all about the damage here. We do survive. Okay, so we will get the Leech Seed off. We're probably going to proc a berry here. Yeah. So that's the game there. It's too much health back in the Arcanine. Yeah, that's done. That is done and dusted. We'll not hang around any longer, guys. We'll just, I think, forfeit now. There's not really much we can do to win this match. Yeah. The Arcanine's got far too much health for us to stall it out with Leech Seed, and we're going to need a lot more health to be able to take another Flare Blitz. And the Garchomp potentially has Fire Fang as well, or even Rock Slide. So, good games to my opponent there. A bit of a disappointing start to today's episode, but let's make up for it in the next match. Yeah, that's all we can do. That's all we can do. Yeah. Just making the wrong decision there in team preview. The Arcanine would have been a lot better to have. We needed to get a Garchomp in unburnt. And, you know, having two physical attackers in the back, Celesteela and our Garchomp, as switch-ins. And we had an opportunity early game where we could have went for the Shattered Psyche onto the opposing Drifblim to pick up the KO there. And we didn't take it. So that's another lesson learned. Remember that. So we will quickly try and find our next opponent. Always disappoints me when I start with a loss. And it's, you know, when it could have been helped as well. So, but learning, that's what we're doing, isn't it, guys? Yeah. Arcanine would have been the better call there. So we find our next opponent straight away. Japanese player, 1683 rating, running a team of Tapu Koko, Pheromosa, Tapu Lele, Mimikyu, Snorlax, and Tokol. So, how are we going to lead up against this? Arcanine very good here with the Intimidate support. It's going to be able to take those big eruptions if my opponent does get the Trick Room off with the Mimikyu very well. So I do want Tapu Lele to lead. I don't know if I do here. I might go Tapu Lele Drift. No, Drifblim's not really going to be... Like, Drifblim's good against the Pheromosa, but against other stuff it's not really that ideal. I don't really want to bring the Snorlax here because of the Pheromosa threat. But the Drifblim could be quite good if we can get around the Tapu Koko Mimikyu. So I could bring Drifblim. Should I bring Drifblim to this match? Or should I bring Celesteela? I think I'm going to bring Drifblim. Because the Drifblim, the thing is with the Drifblim, we've got the Clear Smog. So if my opponent has brought the Snorlax, starts setting up, at least we've got that as an option to kind of shut it down. And a lot of Snorlaxes don't have the coverage to hit Drifblim as well. So it's a nice switch in for that. We can get the Will-O-Wisp off. But like I say, we've got to be careful with how we play it. So we're going to lead off with our Tapu Lele Arcanine. And we see the Tapu Koko and the Mimikyu come out. Okay. Tapu Koko will get its Electric Surge up, but we will override that with our Psychic Terrain. My thoughts here are that Tapu Koko is probably going to go for a Volt Switch, and the Mimikyu is going to go for a Trick Room. So I could potentially double into the Mimikyu here to stop the Trick Room. I'm going to have to go Shattered Psyche. The other option is that my opponent sets up the Trick Room. I would imagine a Volt Switch into my Arcanine here, and I could just go for a Psychic onto the Tapu Koko slot. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to just Psychic into the Tapu Koko slot. I'm actually going to protect my Arcanine here, because I imagine my opponent feels like the Tapu Lele is threatened more from the Mimikyu, so that's the slot that will protect, so not to Volt Switch into that slot. But we see a Reflect come out. Okay. So, totally contradicting what I said. A Reflect from the Tapu Koko. Do get the Psychic off. And we will pick up the KO. And now we will probably see the Trick Room, yeah. So, I'd imagine the Snorlax to probably come in here if my opponent's brought it. But it is the Tokol. Okay, that's not too bad, and I don't mind that as much, to be honest. Because this next turn, what I'm going to do is just protect my Tapu Lele, and I'm going to go for a Snarl with my Arcanine. Just break the disguise on that Mimikyu, and just lower the special attack of that Torkoal while I can. Arcanine's going to be able to take an Eruption pretty easily. Not easily, but a lot better than most things. So we do see the Eruption come out from the Torkoal. Yeah, Arcanine taking that like a champ. And a Shadow Claw into our Tapu Lele. So we do get the Snarl off. Hits both targets Pokemon, so that's really good. And the disguise breaks. So, very good news for us. So what I might do here is, I think we might underspeed this Mimikyu. I would imagine we probably do. We've got to kind of hope we do. I think we probably will. I'm going to go on the assumption that we underspeed it. So I'm going to go for a Shattered Psyche into the Torkoal, because I think we'll survive an eruption now, and I'm going to go for a Flare Blitz into the Mimikyu slot. And we'll see if this is good enough. But Mimikyu is switching out, so the Snorlax is going to take a Sun boosted Flare Blitz. You just see a Flamethrower come out from the Torkoal, so that's better than the eruption. We do get burnt, it's not going to matter too much though, and we are going to be able to take down this Torkoal, which is nice. So bye bye Torkoal. And we've got to be keeping track in our mind of how long's left on this psychic terrain to get our Drifblim in plenty of time. So we do take down the Torkoal, get the Flare Blitz off into the Snorlax. This should do big damage, just because of the sun, but not that much damage actually. So, very bulky Snorlax, take a little bit of burn damage with our Tapu Lele. And we'll see this Mimikyu come back in. So this next turn, we do have to be careful for the high horsepower onto the Arcanine. So we can't freely just go for a Will-O-Wisp here, because a high horsepower from the Snorlax could potentially take us out. So I think I'm just going to go for a Psychic with my Arcanine, and I'm going to switch in my Drifblim for my Arcanine. So I've got that Intimidate to cycle back in if I need to, and at least we've still got the Will-O-Wisp threat with our Drifblim if that Snorlax does start to set up. Hopefully, like I say, we hopefully underspeed the Mimikyu and we can get an attack off here. So we see the Snorlax actually go for that belly drum. And we'll proc that berry. If we can get a Psychic off here, we're going to be in not a bad position really at all. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So we see the Mimikyu go for the Psych Up. Do get the Psychic off. We've got one more turn of Trick Room to go. So we should have maybe delayed bringing Drifblim in for at least one more turn. So I think here I'm going to have to just go for a Protect with my Tapu Lele, and I'm possibly going to have to sacrifice my Arcanine. So I'm going to bring it in, get an Intimidate off. It's not going to be massively helpful, but I just need to preserve the Drifblim at this point. More than anything, we're probably going to see the Snorlax go for a Recycle here, which is not ideal. And possibly a Shadow Claw from the Mimikyu onto the Drifblim slot. So we don't actually see the Recycle from the Snorlax, so just go straight for a Rock Slide. We'll take down the Arcanine here. And the Mimikyu going for that Shadow Claw. So the Trick Room should end now. The Reflect wears off, so that's good. Yeah. So this is the turn where we should have been really bringing in our Drifblim. But I'm pretty sure, let's see what the Snorlax's health is like. See, we could double into the Mimikyu, because I think the Mimikyu has to try and go for a... The Mimikyu could go for a Shadow Sneak, to be honest, because we haven't got the Psychic terrain up. Oof. We're a bit stuck. What I'm going to do is go for a... should I just double into... I'll double into the Mimikyu. I'm going to have to double into it. Double into the Mimikyu. Hope it goes for a Trick Room. I don't know if it will. So we go for the Shadow Ball. doing about half health, and we get the Psychic off. So this should pick up the KO onto this Mimikyu. Yeah, so we get that. So this is fine now. We're fine. We're fine. I'm saying we're fine. Yeah, so we are actually alright. So this next turn we can go for the Clear Smog, get rid of that Belly Drum, and then just start working our way on the Snorlax. Get a Will-O-Wisp onto it. We've got the Garchomp in the back to bring in, so everything's kind of worked out peachy in this match, so not too bad. Yeah. So we'll just go for another Psychic. Actually, while I can, I'm going to go for a Taunt onto the Snorlax, and I'm going to go for a Clear Smog as well. I want to be able to stop the Snorlax going for those recycles when I bring the Garchomp in, and I can just continually attack it. We'll get the Clear Smog off, get rid of all those tasty stat boosts that Snorlax has gone for, and we'll see what the Snorlax goes for. So going for a Rock Slide. But yeah, both Pokemon easily able to take that now, so that's really good. This next turn, we'll go for a Will-O-Wisp and a Psychic. Actually, I'm going to keep my Tapu Lele, because I want to get that Psychic terrain back up, if we can, just in case we do need it in any future turns, and we can just get bigger Psychic attacks off from later in the game, if we need to. But I think Garchomp will probably have enough in the tank to take it out. So we go for the Will-O-Wisp. We do hit. And this Snorlax cannot Belly Drum, cannot recycle, is in a bit of a bad situation now. So it's gone for a Rock Slide again. But yeah, we're going to be able to easily take a multitude of those. So I'm quite happy here just going for Earthquake. And I've only really got the option to go for a Clear Smog again, because I can't hit Snorlax with anything else, but we can just slowly chip it down. And my opponent forfeits. So very good game to my opponent, and managed that game a lot better, guys. So that was a way better outcome. So kind of making up for that first match there, which I'm a bit happy about. So we'll wrap things up there, guys, and we'll pick things up tomorrow again. Hopefully, you know, get a couple of really good games, play with the team like we should be playing with it, like we played at that last game, and not make silly mistakes like we have been making in team preview. But again, it's just showing the importance of picking the right Pokemon in that team preview screen to kind of support how you play in game, because if you leave something behind like we left that Arcanine in game 1, then it's just, you know, you're putting yourself at such a disadvantage. You're going to be threatened. You know what you're going to be threatened by throughout that game. Like, I was going to be threatened by the Will-O-Wisp, so my Garchomp was a threat from that. And not bringing anything to be able to easily switch into those, you know, situations. I mean, we could have even brought the Snorlax in that situation, just as a switch in to stop the Garchomp being able to take that big damage and kind of put a dent in our way to take down the opposing Arcanine, which was the thorn in our side, really, going into the latter turns of that game. So just lessons learned, need to be a bit more switched on, and hopefully this kind of portrays over to you guys, and that's kind of the point of me doing these videos. But the other point of doing these videos is I hope you've enjoyed them, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like on the video. It's always massively appreciated. Just need to give you all a big shout out, because the support, as always, is just amazing, and I love making videos for you guys, and it's really nice to feel appreciated and feel like the content's good. And any comments you've got about the team or the videos or anything like that, feel free just to shoot me a comment in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel if this is the first time you're watching, because you get the daily updates for when the School of Hard Knocks videos come out, the QR code specials, and the team review episodes, as well as everything else. So do that, guys, and until tomorrow, go away, enjoy your nights, whatever you end up doing, have a great time, and until tomorrow, I will see you then. So until then, guys, take care of yourselves, and bye bye.